Good evening and welcome back to 28 Days in Black Agriculture. I am your host, Siren. Some of you may know me as a farmer, a doula, and a birth worker, all the same. I am here to do this work and actually engage with the people that we need to know the most, the farmers, the herbalists, and the birth workers. So today I have Miss Avery Huff with us. She is a farmer, she is an herbalist, she's an educator, and she is here to tell us her story. And so we're going to dive in. Welcome, Miss Avery. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. That was a beautiful introduction, Simone.
Thank you. So before we even get started, what's the origin? Where did you start? Where did you first learn how to grow food? And what was it like watching your grandmother kind of build this into your own prerequisite for life?
Where I first learned to grow food was actually here in the North, in the Pacific Northwest.
Mhm.
So I've always had green thumbs around me, but my grandmother, she grew plants and things. And so it was beautiful to be able to see her talk to them and sing to them and things. And then once my journey brought me here to Seattle and things, that's where my mind became green along with my thumb. And so first I started off just doing it myself. And then as I was able to volunteer in my community, I was able to learn from Black farmers and things such as
Mhm.
at Nurturing Roots and the Yes Farm. So I was very grateful to see the Black people here in the Pacific Northwest already doing their thing because coming from Atlanta, all we think of, or I'm gonna speak for myself, what I thought of was just Sleepless in Seattle and not so much, Black, but it's a beautiful community here. And with learning from the Black farmers here, I was able to pick up more of my ancestral story and learn about my grandmother's father living off the land and also being a farmer but being a harvester. So if it was like up in New York, once the apples and things was ready, they would go up and pick there. So they would travel along the coast. And it was crazy because I didn't know it was a joke, but I learned of the running joke that all my great aunts and uncles was born along the coast
Oh, wow.
of the United States. So we have a few that was born in New York, a few born in, South Carolina, and then we got the ones in Florida and things. So just I was able to learn more about my history once I learned about the farm here. And then of course in my herbalism course that brought on so much ancestral knowledge that even my grandfather's mother, she was a herbalist and things and had them drinking Irish moss tonics and things so that the phlegm could come up and things. So just learned about it was alignment. That's what I could say.
So, what would you say, like, if you could take us back to the moment when your grandmother first showed you how to grow, and then kind of show us, like, how this story of your ancestry and your ancestral knowledge kind of unfolded? What was it like for you to kind of unpack this knowledge, and how do you carry it with you today?
For me, it was me returning home without being in the state that I'm from because I'm 3,000 miles away from Atlanta. And then my grandmother, she was from Florida. So it was just an acknowledgement that I was on the right track because she was able to make it in Atlanta, right? Being from Florida. Here I am 7 years in Washington and I've expanded into a whole nother world. So it was just like being able to know that she planted seeds, you know what I'm saying, from physical to spiritual as well. That is still coming to fruition, and it's like the prayers of your grandmothers, it's still keeping you alive. So that's what I'm feeling. Like now I have a pothos plant in my home that is just like a rainfall, and I just remember being out on the porch with my grandmother while she would be watering her plants and things and knowing the smell of rain, when it was coming and things. So it's been a return home for me without having to go back to Atlanta. because not everybody pops off in their own city. And so I was able to flourish. Well, I am flourishing here in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm grateful for that affirmation, confirmation.
That is amazing. I love how you're talking about your attentiveness to your own lineage and how it's kind of come full circle for you. Like you're kind of walking that same beaten path, but in your own way. So
Right.
could you explain like what it was like when you first was like, oh wait, this is something that is in me, not on me?
Great question. So my first, before doing Sacred Vibes, I took a I think it was like a 13-week course. And I just, one of the assignments was we needed to recognize, she taught us about the language of plants and how the doctrines and things, and so first we learned about and dandelion was just all around me, right? And I was just like, so, and that was my first tincture that I made. But then I said, so she was like, once we learned that, of the body grow outside in the wild. So if it looks like this organ, then it helps that organ, it can. And so that's where I was like, I want to see part of the brain. I want to see, I'm seeing part of the brain. And so that's where I learned about the geranium and how the geranium looks like I think it's I can't remember now, but I believe it's the hippocampus of which is
Mhm.
like the smaller brain of the brain, and how the ridges look. And I just was like, it was within the same week and things. And you know how you can't rush spirit. You can't rush it.
No.
But when the time comes, it's like, oh, this is just real. It's real, And so that's how it was for me. And the geranium is such a even spiritually, it's a great friendship flower and things. So it helps to bold with that. So I was just like, that's, lending a hand to this friendship that is about to bold for me with herbalism. And it's been full coming, because I was the little girl that was playing out with the mud pies and taking my mom's literally taking her conditioners and putting actual grass in it and things, like getting whooped for it.
Playing in her bottom.
Yes, but it was serious to me, and so it's just like, and just now being able to concoct my own products and things, and seeing that it works in the world. And so it's beautiful. That's one of the stories of how I knew that this was real for
Oh,
me.
that was beautiful. Honestly, we all have that reckoning moment where it's like, wait a minute, this is not play. This stuff works just a little too well. Thank you for sharing that. I want to ask, as a farmer and a herbalist and even a master composter, you work really closely with the soil in many ways, right? How do you understand the soil as the keeper of memory, healing, and even transformation?
When I learned about the mycelium in our soil and that underground network and trees talking to each other, and it's not just the yellowing of the leaves and things, and how really important the roots are, and then boom, how important the soil is and what we grow in, what I'm saying, the environment that the roots need to thrive in, to strengthen in, and be able to receive the water and things, and how the same things that we eat, right, is in the soil. And what it is that we are eating the soil. We are, what I'm saying, we are of the soil. So just as we need potassium, nitrogen, calcium, and things, the soil does too. So that's why our body needs it. So once I understood the connection, like the real connection, and then the communication that has to happen, I understand the importance. And that's why even when teaching the children, I start with the soil. I start with composting, and how and letting them know about the reciprocal relationship that we have with the earth, that we are receiving this food, but we do our part by giving it back as well, because then thus far we getting another gift of our own soil and then fertilizer. So
Mhm.
that is I I do. I love the soil. I love and it just, and once you are able to recognize how it speaks to you through, you know what I'm saying, the symptoms of it, how just having like a white coating on it is not so much as bad, you know what I'm saying? It's just the environment for that to grow, you know. And just learning what is unwanted and what was deemed as a weed and things, and it's not, you know what I'm saying, it's just not aesthetically pleasing to this Western world, but it's
Yeah,
needed to our bodies, you know what I'm saying? So that's why
absolutely.
one of the things I love to say to my people is that the only difference between a weed and a flower is judgment. And that was on a little tea.
Come on, preaching. Come on, preaching. The only difference between a weed and a flower is judgment.
Yeah. And once I read that, I was like, that is real. So whoever said that, I'm spreading the word on that because it's real. You know what I'm saying? Knowing what a dandelion can actually do for you, help you with your anger, help you with your liver, help you with your skin. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And thus far, but we've only been taught, oh no, you got to pull it up. If you see it, you pull it up, or you just make a wish on it and you toss it. No, the roots are so powerful. You know what I'm saying? One of the most powerful detoxers to our liver, which is one of the most overworked organs in our body. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Absolutely.
just like, as our teacher told us, you know what I'm saying? Our medicine grows around us. So if you are around a field of dandelions, then you probably need to process some anger. You probably need to process and help your liver and things. So um I love it. I love the connection. And
Love how you have like kind of did this little dance because we just talked about ancestry and we talked about the mycelium and how it carries that knowledge forward into this present day ecosystem.
yes,
It honestly allows us to reflect so much on what it means to transform and
yes,
heal or don't, right? What the markers look like. And we see that in family, we see that in genetics, right? If we don't heal
yes,
something, it's just going to keep running. Like you said, like the liver is all about angerage, and then you see things like diabetes and
yes.
PCOS show up in a very different way.
Say that.
I mean, we're here because we need to fix these things, and the ecosystem around us, our environment, is telling us, "Hey, girl, like you got to fix that." I'm very big on taking the clues, but sometimes the clues are external. Sometimes they're not. You're not listening to your skin when you break out. You're not listening to that acid reflex that's tearing you up, but you just like, oh girl, I just got a real bad burp. No, you are on fire on the inside.
Oh, baby. Cool.
Cool off. You talking too hot. Your gut is too hot. You just need to go ahead, lay it down. But even with that, and thinking about composting and the mycelium, what is it about tending to the land and what has been discarded and turning it into nourishment that like fuels you?
It's the actual process that it takes once again the things that we feel are nasty or that we only feel comes up during the rain. The worms. The worms are so
Mm,
important. The the decomposers are so important. And I am so grateful. I love to teach my babies about, what is worm poop, which is casings. They like to call it casings, but it's worm poop. And worm poop is very essential to our soil. It helps to amend our soil. It helps our nutrients. So it was just really seeing the beautifulness and the brightness of the darkness and the ugly, right? And the things that we've been taught was the creepy crawly. And like I am the girl who now sets the spiders outside. You know what I'm saying? If they not hurting me, then like let us be. So yeah, like the nonprofit I work for, like we get spiders during the summer. So and they be big brown spiders, and I just be talking to them, you know what I'm saying? And I get my plate and my cup and I let them outside because we're never more than 6 feet away from a spider, they tell us. But I enjoyed learning about the underside, right, of the belly, and teaching it to my babies in a fun way, and how it just comes up to them and they're like, it's poop, and I'm like, yes, and they like, okay, like it's acceptable. Like once you let them know how it works and things, it's beautiful. And there's so many books and resources on how to make it digestible for our children. You know what I'm saying? And it's harder for the adults to get it because, they're longer set in their ways. But once you let the children know how diverse our environment is, it reads so well. That's what I can say.
I must ask, like, when you are working with all of these things, how do you kind of like engage with it, and how does it reflect back on you and your own personal development? Because as we know, our environment does dictate how we show up, right? And how our environment is responding to how we show up because of like
Mhm.
all the internal things. In what ways does that mirror you in the process? And like, are you receptive to those lessons that you may not have noticed right away?
Great question. Patience. I have received patience alone. When I tell you, I was a I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying, and just a busybody and moving. Even now, it's hard for me to sit down, but I'm learning and I'm applying that. And the patience of as because I grew up in the South, so children was taught to be seen, not
And then
heard.
I heard,
And so, being around these children and just seeing how children just are naturally, it's like, why did they do this to us? You know what I'm saying? Why? That was just another thing on my nervous system where I'm
yes,
having this expectation, you know what I'm saying, of these children. And it's really me. It's on me because now I'm like, stop, don't do that. And now I'm 3 years in and I pick my battles with these children. My patience in knowing, and even in the garden, that that you planting this seed with all your great intentions and things, and it might not sprout. And it has nothing to do with you. You know that you put in your work, you know what I'm saying? You put in your water and things, and it's that seed. It's not that time, and that's where you have to affirm yourself and knowing that you did the steps and things. And then you have the ones that do bloom and come to fruition, and it's beautiful. And then you see that the seasons are changing, and it's like, all right, you got to go. Like, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. So that's where I do teach that death is a part of the life cycle. Death is a part
Mhm.
of gardening, is a part of farming, and not everything that you touch is gonna grow. And that does not make you a bad person. That does not make you a bad farmer. Even when I did I posted a video and told that I had burned some peas. I put them in the wrong area, so I'm gonna move them over here. So I was like, I hope they don't die and things, but and they didn't. They came back. It was a beautiful PTP that grew, but somebody commented and said, I heard some of the best farmers and gardeners have killed many plants, so
Yes. Oh, yes.
you know,
Listen, we don't want to claim that outright because it make you little heart farmer plant mom heart hurt. But listen, the amount of plants that have to go through that.
that's it. That's it. So yes, and that's where I was grateful for community, knowing that I'm not doing this alone, and having that affirmation and just having to keep going. But yes, I've learned patience. I've learned to affirm myself in the darkness. I've learned to let go when it's time. I've learned, and I'm learning to receive, you know what I'm saying, without having to explain and things. Because you meet people who, oh, I want to grow things and I want to, and it's like, okay, but that's where I don't have to explain all the steps to you right then and there. We can just flow into a
Mm,
relationship and let you ask your questions and things. And yeah, I'm learning to flow for real, Simone. I'm learning to
that
flow.
is amazing. Honestly, that's a beautiful because one, I listen. If I was to tell all the plants that done died around here, it might look like Plant Cemetery, but you know what? We're gonna move
Hey,
forward past that. Um, but I think that's the beauty of it. As a person who I love death and rebirth because I find so much pride in just being able to pick up and build again. Or we just gonna crash it all down. Listen, I haven't always been as pristine and clear cut and level headed. I'm still working on it. I ain't there because it's gonna be somebody that's gonna watch this that's gonna be like level headed child. It's a group of people that will call me a YN right now. Okay. I'm saying that saying that it is so it's so important to be able to fall into the descent of a thing. Some things are just gonna happen. I remember when I first started my farm, I literally could not get for the life of me tomatoes to grow. And then when I did get bell pepper to grow, the cats ate them. I couldn't win, but they weren't mine. And so I make the joke all the time across my platform. Listen, I'm just the help. I'm here and my garden is gonna do what it's gonna do.
yeah,
The farm is gonna move how it's gonna move.
if it
I'm
makes
just
it
here
into
to
the
supply the
house,
water.
I'm lucky. If the produce makes it into the house, I'm grateful.
Listen,
Man, I don't know who gonna get it.
I was trying to ward off a raccoon last summer because I'm like, I just didn't want my first peach. I came outside, that raccoon ate my peach. And I had to sit in that like, you know what? The fact that the animals, especially over here, are like so comfortable to just come eat. They're
If it's safe,
thriving. It's a safe space. Listen, I left Charlotte alone. Charlotte had babies, and that was a lot for me to deal with seeing all them babies. So it's just, it's a natural
woo,
progression.
it
Listen,
is. It is. I grew they I grew some 10-foot sunflowers and the heads was as big. So I cut them down, ready to dry them out and things. I come back a day or two later. Simone, I tell you, the squirrels got to my sunflowers. I didn't even know they could eat them so clean. Do you hear me? Hey,
off
I
the
mean,
bone, baby. Off my sunflowers. So those mammoth sunflowers, I literally had them like in a pot. But because they was dropping seeds last season before I was able to get to them because everything was like this on the plant, I had sunflowers everywhere. Not in no bin, not in no container. They just there. And so I had to fight. So I had chocolate sunflowers on one side, the mammoths on the other. So it was real like across the way. It was real pretty.
yes.
See, I see there's a bird fight outside my window, wrangling my sunflower. I'm sitting here
Good. Your seeds so good. You got nature going wild.
nature gone wild in the yard. I'm watching squirrels get fighting birds. Everything is having a time, and I'm sitting here, so I ain't gonna get no seeds. I'm not gonna get no seeds. Listen, I walked away. I can show you right now. I walked away with just 3 bags. I had a million sunflowers outside. This is what I walked away with. This is it, and I'm not complaining.
That's
Listen,
a
hey,
nice package.
listen. So my goal is to actually do some seed sharing this year because I
Yes.
ain't about to eat all these sunflower seeds.
What I seen up here is that they tie bags over the heads, and I think that's to catch the seeds as well, so as to keep nature out. But I haven't researched it.
Have you tried the helix off the sunflower? Mhm. Have you tried the helixes off the sunflower?
Helix?
Yes. So it's that yellow part before the
Yes.
seeds bloom. Yes.
No. No, not before. No, I've not tried that. I've made tea out of the petals and out of the leaves, but I've not tried the inside.
Listen, the petals and the leaves are fine.
Yes.
Get that helix. Get that helix.
Okay.
Go ahead. Get you some of that helix. Put that off to the side.
What you do
Listen,
with it? Okay.
now I put it up in some tea. I put it up some tea, but me and my friend on some, we just gonna try something. We did a little pre-roll with it. You gonna feel the sun at your back.
The sun on my back.
Listen, I'm all about. I want to be sunny. I want to be up. I want to be uplifted. And it was just when I tell you, it was the smoothest blend. We added some other things, but not too much. I think it was that, some calendula, and then our actual flour, right?
Okay.
And when I tell you, it was so smooth. It tasted good. It was just. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to add that to something.
Yes. Thank you for teaching me another part about my ally. That the sunflower
Yes,
is my ally, a part of the cohort. I didn't know, and when she came through, it just like how you do that's so Raven, but with your
yeah.
cow, it was like, oh my gosh, she has been there. So thank you. The sunflower is
Yeah, I love every part of the sunflower. I really enjoy sunflower oil. It's one of the main ingredients in my products. I
okay.
enjoy using that topically because as you know, it's an emollient.
So
It is
light. Yes.
yeah, it's a vitamin E naturally, and so it's a brightener. You're gonna feel uplifted, and so I literally use all forms of sunflower, and I didn't even
Yeah.
know it at first. It just ended up being one of the ones I was like, yeah, me and sunflower is just gonna go hand in hand, and then calendula came along, like, girl, stop, make some room.
She do. She just, when I tell you, even her leaves come through like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So what we doing? You think I'm a weed, but I'm not. Try somebody else. No, no, she would show up like that, yeah. But you know intuitively that you better not touch this plant, even though you like. But I could just put you in a box. No, I want to be right here. I would never forget it. At the first year I grew, just popped up, and I didn't know what it was. I'm like, dang, that kind of looked like weed, but I'm gonna leave it because I don't know, right?
yeah,
This is where I started to learn in my garden what my garden and things were just gonna grow what they were gonna grow.
yeah.
So
Because your medicine is going to show up. It is going to pop
listen,
up.
I have burdock root in my front yard. I don't know. I didn't put burdock root there. Burdock root is there. It's there. I have to
Yeah.
stop my neighbors from trying to cut it down because it's on the property line. I say, hey, 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 I need you to leave that alone. And you don't know
Let
how
me
much
tell
that
you something.
costs. Leave
Let me
that
teach you
alone.
something. Let me teach you something. Let me teach you something. Yeah.
You're doing too much. But no, Calendula is like that. She is, she's like the Leo. Like, hey, you forgot about me. I know some people think that Sunflower is the Leo. Sunflower is the Aries. Okay. She's the Aries. She real like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
Now what? I'm quick, but I'm a move when I feel like moving. But when I'm in, I'm in. I'm out. I'm out. Very
Yeah.
much clear on that. But Calendula is the Leo. She's very like boisterous. Like you gonna see me? I'm right here. Hey, how you doing? What you
And
doing?
her thing
Hey.
is name. Yes.
Yes. And she's gonna help you with your name.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people don't remember. But in all the beauty that we see in our herbal work and what we do, what do you think is something that you learned by watching that in this stillness, right? We talked about patience and we talked about like how your garden kind of responds to you, but what did you learn without necessarily like having to seek out that your garden taught you in this work?
That you can tell when a plant is sturdy. You can tell when a plant or a produce because you okay, well, I transport, we grow, so I've started growing herbs in hydroponics, right? And then transporting them to soil so that we can have a higher return to give it out to the community. And
Mm,
so even then, even when you take starts from, you get them from the grocery store and you put them into your garden and things, or when you do see the first leaves coming through, you can tell when a plant is sturdy, when a plant is rooted in its environment. And it
mhm.
is going to, and you can, because it's like when it's not, a high wind and things, that That start is like this. You can feel the fullness. You can feel the life that is going to burst through. So, and that's what I've learned and by watching, because when you plant something, it's not just, I'm gonna see the harvest tomorrow. This
Absolutely
about to
not.
take some weeks. You know what I'm saying? And
No.
patience, and it takes observance, and it takes, okay, what has attacked it today? You know what I'm saying? What are we working through? What environment? Oh, how is the sun hitting it? And things. That's what I've learned. I've learned when a plant is thriving and rooted within its environment. And when a plant has hardened, right? Because
Mm,
then it's been here, it's ready for the rain, it's ready for the winter, and it's going to come back to you next summer season. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I've seen, that there's a difference between your indoor and your outdoor. And once your outdoor is hardened, is rooted. So
absolutely.
I've learned that.
So we about to get a little into the business of things because that is a
Okay.
beautiful sentiment. Like that is such a beautiful, like truly, you can actually see that, and I documented that process a little bit with my tomato plant that took over my yard. But I just work here, so that was her business. That was her
Right.
business. But how does that process of hardening, of becoming rooted, how does that mirror the work that you see happening in the Black community and within yourself, like as it pertains to our liveliness?
Yes, I'm becoming more confident. I'm 35 and I've only been working in farming and gardening probably about the last 5 years. And I'm confident though. It's where I am in becoming rooted in what I know and that it is enough. And that once I do, get more years and things, then I'll be enough at that stage too. And so that's what I've learned for myself in the PNW, right? Because there are a lot of white farmers, and then you
Hmm.
do have us Black farmers, and we are doing some great things. We're able to get great incentives, you know what I'm saying, from the city and things. Like even right here in my neighborhood, we're having the first Black Panthers park, which is going to have a
Nice.
food forest and a herbal garden and things. And so that park is almost done actually, and it has a Black fist in the middle, right? And Skyway is the last Black city of Seattle, of Washington. It's so much gentrification here, or you probably
Hmm.
don't, but here in this state. And so yes, I'm grateful that, Spirit really blessed me to be around the Black people, because it could have been tragic, Simone. It could have been so thus far, that's with myself, and then with the work that I'm doing, been blessed to meet other Black women who are standing in their know and standing in their knowledge, and we are literally lifting each other up. Like this movement that has started here is it's been a long time coming, you know what I'm saying, but pieces had to be in place, you know what I'm saying. People had to get their lessons to know what they know now, to be able to work together how we're working together, to bring across the fruition and the newness that is happening in my environment. And I'm around so many Black women led organizations that I'm blessed. Because my mother, she's in Atlanta, Georgia, but I have some elders around me. You know what I'm saying? I have people
Mm,
that are really pouring into me and wanting me to know the knowledge. And I have learned about the allyship in this Black farming community, that you do need, you know what I'm saying, some white people so you can know how to navigate the unknown, because we unfortunately, we've been legalized out of the farming industry. So we don't even know that even a fourth of an acre, you know what I'm saying? We don't even have to have a whole acre to be considered a farm, so we just think it's
exactly.
so much out of our out of our reach, where it is not. And that's where even now, like our nonprofit has is outlasting others, where they told us that we're doing too much, and you know what I'm saying, y'all not gonna be able to do this, but boom, y'all sunsetting, and that's the cute name for their closing, right? And then y'all are giving us your money
Grand closing.
that you wasn't able to spend in things. So it's just a testament that we're on the right track, that there is alignment in our assignments, right? Because I know I came around at the right time, because here I am leading the urban gardening, department at the nonprofit. And there was a time, even like a year ago, I would think, oh no, you not me chosen, and it's like, yes, I am. Because what I do, go to them workshops, I do read, I do research, I do try to grow this, I do try to grow that, I do educate my people. I have been in this school for 3 years, and I do have children running up to me, giving me hugs, and you know what I'm saying, affirming me. So within this first month of 2026, I've let go a lot of self-doubt. A lot of clarity has come in. And really, Simone, when I show up at these different community events and things, and I say, hey, and I'm received with such joy. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's
Hmm.
putting on. It's just like, hey, yes, we are giving genuine hugs and happy to see each other in these spaces, because these nonprofit and urban farming, it is not for the weak. You really have to be ready to, you know what I'm saying, to fight for your place in knowing what you do, because as us Black people, we do things with a flair, and once people see the light, they want to be attracted to it and take, you know what I'm saying, but
Hmm.
you can't have it, so yeah.
Yes. I mean, I totally agree with that. And I've seen different experiences here, just even in the state of Illinois, right? Being that a lot of Illinois is agricultural farming land, but that isn't broadcasted to Black communities that way because we're so central focused on city and things like that. But it's hard to attain some of this land, some of this property, and things like that. But I want to ask, how do you see your work as a part of a longer Black agricultural lineage that stretches both behind you as well as in front of you?
When we was in herbalism class, Karen, she asked us, so how do you see your herbalism? How do you see it showing up? And I said, I see mine as boots on the ground in the community. And that is what it has been. I see that I've been blessed that I'm doing legacy work, that I ended up working for my husband's father's side of the family, and he doesn't even have a relationship with his father, that he has been able to connect with his cousins and his great aunts and things, and that connection there, and then to be serving the community, for these people to be about Black women, about Black people, about our unity, and knowing a different way to present in this world. I'm blessed. So how it's going to show up is that I'm going to pass it on through my voice, through my confidence, through standing up and not shrinking, letting the world know when I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. And it's going to be through my actual work. I mean, working through my hands. I am a very community oriented person. I was taught to give and to be of service. And I'm learning
Mhm.
how to be of service honorably and with discernment. And so I know that's how it's going to continue, and where my children are they're proud of me. I see it, and they know they don't want to show up to everything, they on their own journeys, but they knowing that when my mom is in it, it's good. It is going to be done the right way and things. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be where I am in Skyway, Washington. And I know that it's going to continue through the work of my hands and my service.
That is a beautiful sentiment, honestly. Like it, it is to be fed to the future, right? So what moments, because you talked a lot about your children, you talked about your kids that you teach and your youth, what moments of joy and play or even pride that stand out for you working with the land and teaching the young people? what place do you think joy has in Black agricultural futures?
The joy that I see is when the children return. They have a
Mhm.
choice to come to my class. They have a they can sign up. And I've had these children return to my class, and I know that I'm giving them something that is rooting, and they're understanding and getting a system about themselves and about our relationship with the earth. And then just the questions, you know what I'm saying, that they ask me and affirm, and what was this tree again, and we was able to eat what fruit. We learned about the dogwood tree, right? Whereas,
Mhm.
you know, you think that they thought that the red berries was poisonous and things, but we was eating the heck out of those berries. And they are a pretty mango color on the inside and very good. So it's just being able to learn with them and letting them know I don't know everything. The thing is to, you know what I'm saying, that we can learn this together and that it's accessible. It's not outside of us. It's that everything we need is within us and around us. You know what I'm saying? So that is what the joy that I get, and that I know that they are receiving. And it's affirmed in our consistency of being able to do it together. And within the black farmers and things, what we're learning is that it's about the education, because as we are feeding the community, we are giving them some of the same, you know what I'm saying, fruits and things as like apples and oranges and potatoes. But it's the education behind it, where now at least our nonprofit and things is putting out flyers with this and recipes, and that this is where this originated from, and we started growing it here in America during this time, and it's used medicinally this way and things, and in some cultures it's spiritually used this way. And so that's where we're learning about the education. And even we have other farmers that are having, you know, workshops and going to different schools as well. So we're learning and applying that it is about the children and getting it in before, you know what I'm saying, we learn the ways that we don't, that are not for our good. So that's where I see that it is continuing in our black farming community, because it's about the education and getting it
Mhm.
rooted within our system, and letting those know that this is an everyday thing. It's not a special occasion.
Absolutely. So, just wanted to touch back on your beautiful sentiments. Like, honestly, I fully sit and stand in. Like, we got to teach these kids before they figure out that, like, other things are happening in life,
Yes,
but also making it feel a part of their everyday life, right? Because this is the lifestyle. Like, you being a part of what you eat is really important, because if you
yes,
know what you eating, then you ain't got no reason to be sick. There's no
yes.
excuse to be sick. But I want to ask, what agricultural knowledge or practices do you believe are most at risk of being lost? And what responsibility do we have to protect them?
Believe herbalism, which is the people's medicine, is being lost. And how we are, I am reclaiming it is by, once I was able to have full autonomy of the school garden, one bed is, we have two beds at this time. And so one bed is dedicated to herbs. And I let them
Hmm.
know that this is for the annualness of them, you know, so that they could, that you know that they could come back without little work. Yes, you have your food over here, and over here you have your flavor and your medicine and your prettiness, right? Because of course your herbs do have flowers and things, but then smell this, you know, taste this. And that is where I am reclaiming it, because that's at the school garden. And then at our garden at the nonprofit, I'm making it into a sensory garden where you have angel wing leaf plants that feel like leather. And then you have
Hmm.
the lamb's ear plant, you know, that feels like a soft pillow. Where, you know, others are able to use their senses to be present and to learn about plant life and things. That is how I'm reclaiming what I know is being lost. Because I'm having to calm myself too, because yes, I'm knowledgeable about this world, but it's so many of us that aren't, and so we just have to be
Hmm.
patient with that as well. And that's where I tell myself. So that's how I'm reclaiming it, and in both
I
sectors.
think that's beautiful. I think that is absolutely beautiful. One, the sensory garden, like, oh my goodness. We need more sensory gardens. All these fidget poppers, spinning, whatever. Put these kids in some dirt. I'm a proponent of put that baby in some dirt.
Yes, yes,
But I do understand sensory issues are a thing because I have sensory issues. I don't like certain textures and I
me,
don't like certain foods for that very reason. And
yeah,
I totally understand that, right? But I do think you are literally engineering a way to make it accommodating, to make it accessible. There are no excuses when we are providing you with the things that you need to feel comfortable so you can learn how beneficial working with the land is. And also, like, grounding is a key component of that. Like,
yes,
the
it
land
is.
restores you in more ways than medicine ever could, even if we do grow it, right?
Yes,
Walking the ground is always going to be a restorative act, an act of perseverance and autonomy that we all need. Throughout this conversation, we've talked about so many things, right? We've talked about your lineage, your history. We've talked about your own processes and even how you kind of see your own little agricultural bubble in this big bubble that we are trying to grow and expand in and bring so much knowledge to. But I would like to ask, if your grandmother could witness the work that you're doing today, what do you think she would recognize you in, and what do you think she will hope you would feel?
wow. I think she would recognize me in being determined in something that I didn't know how to do because I just tried. And she passed when I was 9, but she knew me
Mm,
as a little girl that always was trying. Um, but she would see me now as as a little scientist, a scientist, a gardener, because I'm literally doing things that they said that you're not supposed to do, taking hydroponics into the soil and things. And so she would just, yes, wow, yeah, she would say I'm still the little determined little girl. And she would say I'm being my own person. I'm
that's
being my own
beautiful.
person.
Well,
Yeah,
if it's any, I did not mean to make you cry at all. That was not my intention, but you know what? I think the sentiment is there. You're doing the work, you're showing up in a very particular way that's super authentic to who you are and what you desire out of life. And honestly, you're taking what she gave you, even in the beginning, to kind of fortify your life around this to be a beautiful practice that you share with not only yourself, you share with your family, you share with your community, and you are also teaching the next generation of how to carry it forward. So I thank
well,
you for
thank
your
you for
time.
saying it.
Yeah, I thank you for your time. I thank you for you sharing your story with me. And this is why I do it, because these stories need to be shared, they need to be
Yeah.
documented. I'm so grateful.
Well, thank you, Simone. Thank you for asking. Thank you for putting yourself out there for, scouting for interviewers. And I told myself I wanted to give more attention to my business. And yeah, and I thought it was through content creating and, oh, I gotta post and things, but that's not me. What is me is talking organically about who I am and what I do, and the attention is gonna come. I know I'm not.
Absolutely.
Yes, I know I'm not being hid. It's just my timing, and I thank you. I thank you for affirming me, and I thank you for creating the space for my story to be heard. And I wish
Absolutely.
you much success in
Thank you.
this product. I mean, this process and your next project. That's it. This project and then your next project. What the threshold? Something on the threshold.
Ascending into the threshold. Yes, that is
Yes.
to come. I thank you for just joining us in this process because, like, this is the beginning of something
Yes,
really
it is.
amazing. So, before we officially close, tell the people how they can find you, where they can find you, and where is the sensory garden?
Okay, well, I'm Avery Huff, and I am out of Skyway, Washington. And so I work for the nonprofit, the Silent Task Force. Our website is thesilentaskforce.org. And my personal business is Sunflower Ally. You can find my website, sunflowerally.com, on the Instagram, uh, sunflower underscore ally, and find me around the city. I'll be at the local farmers market selling my lemonade, and I'll be in my community teaching and growing.
That is amazing. Thank you, Avery, Miss Avery, for joining us. I so appreciate you. And thank you for everybody for watching. Have a good night.
All right.